All right, Joey, everybody knows you as a funny guy, but maybe not everybody knows that you are actually a Pittsburgh Steelers fan from Indianapolis. So my first question here, how does somebody from Indianapolis become a Steelers fan?
Well, how old are you, Riley?
I am 26 years old.
Okay, I was going to say maybe about 23 or so. You got the good baby face going on, so that's great. But I don't know if you know this, but the Indianapolis Colts weren't here until 1984, okay? So my dad, who grew up here, was already a teenager at that time. He lived through the 70s, Steelers Nation becoming what it was, obviously, with those great teams. And so his devotion was to the black and gold, and he wasn't moving off of it. He was already had his loyalties tied there. So that's the house that I grew up in, and that's all I've ever really known is the Church of the Steelers.
What are some of your favorite memories being in some of those pews in the Church of the Steelers?
Well, one of my first real vivid memories probably – well, it's not a great one, but it was the 2001 AFC Championship game. And then I remember my dad and me being very sad from that. But then, of course, the great ones was the 2005 run. I was 11 or 12. I remember that one partially so well because everybody in my hometown hated me because Mike Vanderjagt missed that kick. And the Steelers upset the Colts, which that was supposed to be their year. They were undefeated for so long. But yeah, 05, 08, so many great memories. I know exactly where I was when James Harrison picked off that pass from Kurt Warner in Super Bowl 43. So I have a tattoo for the Steelers. I don't know if people know that or not. I don't know if you knew that or not.
I didn't.
Yeah, it's branded on me, man. It's branded on me for life. So it's very important, near and dear.
So everybody that follows you knows that you do all these different comedy skits and impressions on social media, whether that's Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, or X as people want to call it these days. What got you into doing those comedy skits?
Man, I just always wanted to do it deep down. But growing up in Indianapolis, besides David Letterman, everybody was just like, how do you even make it in that world, or how do you even start doing that? So it was always kind of like outer space to me. It was a little foreign. I didn't know how to get there. But then in college, I was going to school to be like you, doing sports talk and on TV and on radio. And I was like, you know what? I think I kind of want to scratch that itch and try to chase that dream of being in entertainment, being in comedy. And so I started doing it and going after it. And it was like 5 or 6 years in the making. And then all of a sudden started kind of doing the impressions and everything. And then people started saying, oh, you're the guy that does the Andrew Luck, or you're the guy that does the Nick Saban. And now I think we're starting to get more and more to you're Joey, which is cool, which is good. But yeah, it's just I always looked up to, Jimmy Fallon and Dana Carvey and Adam Sandler and Dave Chappelle and guys like that. And, wanted to make my dad and my uncle, my grandpa laugh and whatnot at family gatherings. And I was like, I think I want to do that, in real life for a living.
Well, now you make thousands of people laugh by everything that you post on social media. Who was one of the first impressions that you really nailed down?
Yeah, locally it was Andrew Luck, and then I was actually on my bachelor party and he retired.
Oh, wow.
That's when he retired, as I was on my bachelor party. So it was with a room full of Colts fans, and there was like a funeral in there. It was insane. You ever been on such a high of being on a bachelor party, and then, like I said, you're basically at a funeral. But Andrew Luck was the first one that kind of got local people around here to, like I said, it was like I wasn't just like the random cameraman in the Colts locker room anymore. They were like, oh, wait, I seen the Luck. I like that. But then the first big, national, I guess, one would be Nick Saban. That one was the one that really kind of was like, okay, now there's major outlets, if you will, that were picking it up.
All right, so I want to combine your love of the Steelers as well as your love of impressions here if you're down.
Okay, it's early.
So I'm going to give you a guy to do an impression of,
Yeah.
and I'm going to have you talk about, in that voice, talk about a Steelers player here.
Okay.
So you ready to go?
Let's give it a try.
Let's start with the fastball here. Colin Cowherd talking about Aaron Rodgers.
You look at a guy like Aaron Rodgers, and you say, this is a guy who is past his prime. He's the guy going back to the local bar on Thanksgiving break, wearing the leather jacket, and the leather jacket starting to get a little too tight.
How about Chris Collinsworth talking about Will Howard, maybe the next franchise quarterback of the Steelers?
You look at a guy like Will Howard, and you say, here's a guy that can really get it done. Yeah, the Pittsburgh Steelers are looking for their next guy, and he's someone who's been at Ohio State, won a national championship, and he's been in the big moments. He's someone you would want back there. I would want back there calling the shots. There's no doubt about it.
How about Tony Romo talking about new Steelers head coach Mike McCarthy?
Oh, I don't know, Riley. It's you see, because they have McCarthy, and then they said, they got one mic, they go to another mic. I don't know if it's gonna work, Riley. Oh. See, that's what's Romo's. He's just kind of like, he doesn't know anything that's going on, and he's just really, it's kind of like the Berman you said earlier. He's just a little, I don't know, Riley.
I'm going to give you a free pass here. I'm going to let you pick whoever you want to do an impression of, and you could talk about whoever you want to on the Steelers.
Free pass. Oh, man. How about Patrick Mahomes talking about TJ Watt?
That's cool with me.
work?
Yeah, that works.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, TJ Watt, he's a great player. Every time I play him, though, he doesn't really do anything. I pass for about 425 yards, and we beat the Steelers by about 35 every time we play him. So he's a really good player, but never really anything that keeps me up at night, that's for sure.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Joey. I appreciate it, man. We'll have more Steelers content coming up after the break.
Here we go.